Good morning, good afternoon, or evening, whichever you're tuning in to us from. Welcome to the Truck Around and Find Out podcast, where we like to discuss our fun topics, hot topics, and things surrounding the trucking industry, the community, our lives up here in northern Colorado. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Byers. I'm the owner of Front Range Compliance and DOT University. We don't have Keith with us. He's one of my co-hosts. Unfortunately, he is hopefully making some big truck sales, and we'll get him on the next podcast that we get recorded. I am joined by the infamous Redbeard. Luke, how you doing today?
Doing good.
Doing real good. We got some interesting topics to talk about, Mr. Luke.
To say the least.
We're going to be diving into some interesting stuff today. Two major hot topics. One is like happening right now that you've got to be aware of. One that's going to be coming up by 2028, I believe.
Yep.
And of course, the Truck Roadeo. Just a real quick little update on that. So of these topics, right now up in the state of Wyoming, the DMV department has had a major problem, not really getting a good, clear idea of what happened, if it was a data breach, it was an update. But CDLs got dropped out of their system, and we're talking this has affected thousands of CDL holders, and they have no idea. But, I'm going to be talking about that because it's a direct reflection on you, your safety records. These guys are going to be getting pulled over. As of right now, they may not have a CDL any longer in the state of Wyoming. So, we need to get on top of that one.
It's probably just going to show a expired driver's license.
Yeah, well, it'll probably show them as they're eligible to apply for a license, but it's bad. Then we have this Workmans comp thing that's going on in the state of Colorado. Oh boy, something big has happened, we need to get some information. Everything that we've got on it is brand new to us. We're going to be working on getting, I think, a guest in here, see if they can really give us the rundown so we can get the information out. But there's going to be a pretty big change, and people from this industry are definitely not happy about this, and rightfully so. So we're going to be diving into that. And then, of course, the Truck Rodeo. Yes, CMCA, the Colorado Truck Driving State Championships, is coming up here the first weekend of June. I believe it's June 6th, that Saturday. Come out and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Luke, from the meeting you had yesterday, I wasn't there. I was in the middle of some other stuff. Sounds like this is going to be the year of the step van.
Yep. Just FedEx alone is bringing over 20 step van contestants.
20? We don't usually have 20 contestants, period, for step vans. So,
we do not.
And then FedEx is also going to be there.
Yep. FedEx is going to be there. UPS is going to be there. I'm sure there'll be a handful more too, but
Amazon, you better get in there.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's get to battle. Okay, so we're going to have the battle of the brown versus the blue. I guess FedEx is bluish purple, or I don't know, whatever kind of color there are. But I'd like to see those guys battle it out.
It's going to be fun.
See who's going to take the king of the championships. A lot of pride going to be going on in that. But did you tell me yesterday that we're going to have 3 step vans just for pre-trip inspection?
That's what old Dean Teeter told me. I don't know if we're going to have 2 or 3, but we're definitely going to need more than just one if that's the case.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to see that that's exciting. How many contestants they say we've got signed up right now for the state competition?
70.
Well, that's actually a pretty low number. Usually we have
right now, yeah.
Well, I think the largest one I remember was 250 plus. It was somewhere in that ballpark. That was a long day that year.
Yeah,
that was the biggest one I've ever seen. I think last year we had 120 some.
113.
That was 113. Yep. Okay, you should know. You had to do all the tallies on our scores. 113. So we got. I know the registration is still open.
Yep.
So if you have not had a chance to participate or you haven't been involved, we get a lot of drivers that show up to that event that get voluntold to be there. And it's really obvious, especially in our portion, because Luke and I run the pre-trip and the post-trip inspection. And you can tell who's prepared and who got voluntold to be there, because, you get 8 minutes to go around and do an inspection. We set it up with 15 defects. We always have some kind of contraband, and we've had some pretty cool violations in the past.
Yeah.
Well, we can't take stuff apart. Like I wish they'd give me a couple techs and a service truck, and we'd be out there, man, pulling out the air tools, and we'd do some cool stuff, which they do at nationals. They actually set these true blue violations. So we try to get creative, not just like a piece of duct tape on a tire that says flat. That's kind of dumb. And back in the day, I remember how the pre-trip worked. That's how it was set up. There'd just be a screw laying on top of the tire. It's like, here's this shiny, long, like 2-inch screw just sitting up there. You walk by it like, okay, that's a screw in the tire defect. So we actually hide them in the tire by getting creative. We like that black Gorilla tape on tires, and we take a little Sharpie and kind of black out the screw so they're not just like a shining beacon standing on top of the tires. And we do some crazy stuff with the tires. We use some black balloons. We kind of came up with this process. You just put a little bit of air in that balloon and then use that black duct tape, and you can tape that to the inside of the tires to kind of look like a tire bulge. Yep. It actually works really well. It does work really well. So if you're doing like training and things like that, you want to work with your teams, a lot of these are some cool ideas that you can take back to like get them prepared and see what they're looking for, and without actually taking off parts. I know we've done the spliced airline where we just take a little bit of that black duct tape and wrap it around the airlines, like for the glad hands, and then we put some hose clamps on there, just to kind of simulate, hey, there's a splice right here. It amazed me those first couple years we did that, how many people didn't even see those spliced airlines. And the DOT, that's like a red beacon for them. That's an out of service, with many other out of services, but they don't see that one as often as they did in the old days. So when they do see it, they get a little excited. Yes, like, you can't splice an airline that way. You get the old finger wag out there on the side of the road. So we have a lot of fun with our violations. Well,
the first year we did it, we made pipe bombs and dynamite stacks.
Yeah, we did make some faux. Let's make sure that they were not real. We made look-alike pipe bombs. I do get asked if we're going to bring those back, and I just in today's society of absolute craziness, I don't think I want to be driving down the highway with a bunch of fake-looking bombs, because they did look real, and I just have a feeling that I would end up on America's Most Wanted. So, I don't think we're going to break out the fake. I don't even think we own them anymore. I think they've been destroyed, So if you're on the ATF, you're listening to this, we had no malintentions. It was strictly for training purposes. Yeah, joking around, of course. But I did hear that, somebody heard what we did somewhere in another state, and they kind of simulated it and did the same thing. And a fake device got left on a truck, and that ended up leading to a much larger incident somewhere.
Didn't the bomb squad get called out for that?
That's what I heard. Yeah. That's what I heard. I can neither confirm or deny that happened. I just am thankful that it didn't happen. The last year we did it, I will tell you this. When we tear down the rodeo, it's usually been a long 2 days, because we get out there, we set up on Friday, and we're tearing everything down. And sometimes it's like chaos, because there are the volunteers that give us the equipment. Sometimes they're like standing in line, chomping at the bit. They want to take their trucks. They want to go home. And so the last year that we did the fake bombs, we stashed those on the trucks. I made it home after everything was packed up, and we got it all out, and I was kind of doing our inventory, putting everything away, and I counted everything out, and I was missing one of our devices, and I went into full panic mode, because the last thing I want is somebody to volunteer a truck, and next thing you know, they're pulling through a port of entry somewhere in middle America, and we have a national incident on our hands. Yep. And our fingerprints are all over that device. That's not going to end. Somebody's probably going to go to jail at that point. So.
It was just PVC with a wire sticking out.
It was, but it's still a look-alike, and I'm sure that there's crazy people that send weird stuff that's fake, and they still go to jail.
Yeah.
That was not our intent. So I went into full panic mode. I have now a due obligation. So I'm putting out phone calls. I'm tracking every one of those pieces of equipment down. I'm calling offices. People are not happy with me, but we did track the trucks down. Every one of them, I'm like, okay, this truck, this is where we put it. And they went out, they looked, and they're like, no, it's not there. Well, it turned out that somebody took one of those and didn't put them in my pile. Instead, they threw it in the CMCA pile. So the next year, while we were getting all their equipment out, we're like, oh, hey, here's that thing that was supposed to go back with Ryan. So I made that decision right then and there that we're not going to do this again. And if we ever do something like that again, there's going to be some very strict protocols to make sure that no safety breaches happen or anything like that. But yes, it was fun. I think one of the funniest thing that ever happened, I remember one of the guys when he found it, because most of the guys, amazing how many people looked right at them and just moved right past it and didn't pay any lick of attention. But there was one guy that walked by it and he looked at it and he goes, I don't know what that is. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like it. So I'm going to say defect, but I don't know what that is. It should not be there, and it shouldn't look like that. And I mean, it was our best Hollywood representation of what a pipe bomb might look like, made out of PVC. It was just rather comical, but it kind of threw the drivers for a loop. They'd never seen anything like that. But that was years ago. We're not doing that again. So
nope. I think the following year, we made some dime bags with baking soda in them.
Oh, we did. Yeah,
contraband.
It's funny. I always wondered where you buy those itty bitty little Ziploc baggies. As a former law enforcement officer, you'd find bindle bags, and it's not like you can go to the grocery store and buy a dime bag. Nope. But Amazon sells them. Whoa, big surprise there.
Everything.
So yeah, we bought a case of them. I think from Amazon, a case by a couple hundred. I think, but I got more little dime bags than I ever know what to do with. I guess if I buy Splenda in the bulk, I can carry it that way. That's going to make some people interested. White powder and a little bitty Ziploc. But yes, when it comes to contraband, we try to have fun with it, and try to make it as realistic as possible to make sure that drivers are looking for it. I don't want it to be just a gimme violation. But we always try to do something with contraband. I know in the past they used to throw a firearm in the truck, and I take heartburn with that because. I am a Second Amendment person, and it's not a federal law that you can't have a firearm. So I don't think that's fair to put that in there and automatically declare that as a defect when it's technically not. Yeah. It is a company policy. The companies have every right in the world to say you can't have a firearm in our vehicle. Yeah, absolutely. But not the feds. So I kind of leave that one out. But when it comes to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, yeah, we try to get creative. A good one that we did was we made up lunch boxes, and so we even made like a little sandwich, and we put a soda in there, some RC cola. We went cheap as we could go, and then we also put a beer in that little bag, some stuff like that. So yeah, in order to find the contraband, you had to go through the lunchbox. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
Not a lot of people found those beers either.
They did. Not a lot, but a few did. If they find the contraband, the way we hide it is it's in elevated points anyways because it's one of the major defects. Yep. So we make it a little bit harder. So get creative. I like it to be realistic. Like, let's be honest. In my trooper days, very seldom did I open up the truck and just see a dime bag sitting right out in the open. Usually they were hidden. So we try to hide them a little bit, that kind of thing. I've been told, well, at nationals they just put it right out in the open. I'm like, yeah, but that's like a gimme for everybody. That's a free point. But we need to make sure that it's there and make sure people are looking. But anyways, Truck Rodeo's going on. It's an open event to the public. Come out and check it out. We have a good time out there. The driving course, Arnold Wheat puts that whole thing together. It is spectacular. He lasers this thing out, and it is like super, super cool the way they stretch that out. And the drivers have to take these trucks, through this obstacle course. And it's judged by the Colorado State Patrol and Port of Entry. They come out and then kind of join us for the day. So it's a way of kind of building camaraderie with them also, and just kind of getting the industry partners all together. It's a really super fun event. Come out and support Colorado's professional truck drivers. Great organization, and we got some great people behind the wheels of these trucks driving up and down the highway. So show some support to them. And if you got if you're a company and you want to get involved, reach out to CMCA, CMCA.com. Get involved and be a part of the rodeo. I mean, even if you're just volunteering somebody to come to that, they're going to learn from it, and hopefully it'll get them excited so that they can come and maybe do better next year. I was at I had a training this morning at like 3 a.m. I had to get up and go to this training. It was super early with these drivers, and I was talking to them about it because they kind of do their own. And I was like, get your guys involved in the actual state competition. I mean, it's pretty good bragging rights if you can win state and then go to nationals and also win nationals, which Colorado typically has some people at the top of them leaderboards. So I'm pretty proud of that. So anyways, Truck Rodeo, great event, first weekend of June. Come on out and see us. Okay, now yesterday you went. I couldn't make it, and you went to the Colorado Motor Carriers Association's their safety meeting. Sounds like it was a good turnout.
It was, yeah. It was the fullest meeting I've been to in about 2 years, to say. Yep.
Yeah, we've been kind of dwindling. We miss you guys at our CMCA meetings. It's a great event. They try to get some good speakers in there. It's kind of, we as the group, it's where you kind of bring the trucking industry safety personnel together, and we share ideas, and we work through these different situations, and we try to get some guest speakers. Now, I'm not a big fan of the just sales pitch guest speakers, which, that happens, but I really am. When we can get some good topics, some things that are affecting us. And yesterday was one of those days. Unfortunately, my schedule was stacked and I couldn't make it. So Redbeard went in my place and called me afterwards, all kinds of excited, new topics. I don't think I've seen him this excited after a safety meeting in a long time. But he came home with some information. And one of this is about this new in Colorado, this Workman's Comp Bill, House Bill 25-1300.
They call it Workers' Compensation Benefits Proof of Entitlement is the bill name.
Proof of Entitlement. Well, I think the name suggests the direction it's heading. Proof of Entitlement. And Luke, he sat down, he told me all about it. And I got to be honest with you, and these are my opinions only. Like I said, we're going to see if we can get somebody in here to actually talk about it and give us the points that we need to know. It doesn't sound like it's anything good at all for a business owner. It seems like it's creating a massive amount of work that we're going to have to go through and do, is kind of the way you explain that to me. But it also kind of seems to me if it's a way of getting people, if they get some type of an injury, free health insurance.
Yep.
Because they can go wherever they want, claim that it's work related, and you're going to be finding out about it later. And they basically, I think, did I hear you right when you said they're saying that it's going to be up to the business to prove that was actually not a work-reported injury?
That's right.
Wow.
Yep, that is the big focus of this new bill that they're introducing. So again, it's Colorado House Bill 25-1300. And it puts the burden of proof on the company to say they were not injured during their shift.
Okay, so currently the way it's set up, right? And now this doesn't go into effect until 2018. So
2028.
I'm sorry. I was thinking I had date, right? But 10 years later, okay, 2028. Now here's the situation. Okay, currently you have your workman's comp set up. You have at least 4 providers, and they have to go to one of your providers. They have to do the first report of injury. You follow all your protocols, and then the individual goes in. You see to it that they get the medical treatment. This new one is kind of setting it up to where they can just go to any doctor, claim injury, and then they're going to be finding out about it a little bit later. I'm sure there's some protocols in between.
Yeah, so they can't go to any doctor. It has to be a level 1, level 2 approved practitioner, physician, whatever you want to call it. And they said that they're going to be putting out a list here in the next few months of all of the approved doctors. But the problem is it's just going to be that. It's going to be a list of doctors and locations that's not going to tell you clinic or where they're at, where they're based out of. So if you can get onto that list as a faux doctor, you can be just giving people free health insurance basically through their company.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's going to be a list of faux doctors per se. I think it's going to be, I think all kinds of doctors are going to get on it.
There's going to be all kinds of stuff.
We're talking across the board, probably all the physicians that are already on the workman's comp, the rules changes. So they're going to be like, yeah, I'm one of the providers. So it's probably going to be a pretty healthy network of doctors that they're going to go to.
I'm sure it is.
Which means it's going to give these people a lot of options who they're going to go to. But they can go basically anywhere and declare they're hurt because of work.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's some protocols in between that have to be followed and that kind of thing. But the way it was explained to me is that, yeah, they're going to just go and you're going to find out about it. And so it's really going to kind of wreak havoc. So we'll work on getting some more information, some clearer information. Just want you all to be aware that there's big things changing. And from our take on it, the people in the industry, I mean, I'm pretty lucky. We're my employees and I, we don't really work, knock on wood, we don't really work too in those environments where we're getting hurt and stuff like that. I mean, we are filing record keeping, running drug and alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, you can carpal tunnel, but that's really about it.
Yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time walking around yards. I mean, I guess you go out and do inspections. There's a possibility, that one brake can exploded next to you that one
that's
time.
fair. That's
it
fair.
is possible that you could get hurt, but for the most part, like, we're pretty easy. So I'm very fortunate in that department, but a lot of all my clients, this is a big issue.
Big
so
deal. Yep.
so this is something y'all need to really be paying attention to. And Luke, I think they said that there's for right now. Well, before I get into that, let's say this: there was kind of some discussion through this, just to kind of let you know how this bill got passed. Sounds to me like it was snuck in last minute.
Yep. Nobody asked for it.
And it got put on a public ballot. So this was voted on by the public.
Yep.
But it was not really out there in one of those elections that a lot of people vote in. Mm-hmm. So did you say that less than 10% of the voting population actually voted for this?
Well, I couldn't tell you about that. The guy who was discussing this yesterday at the CMCA meeting, I unfortunately didn't get his name, but he stated that when it comes to workman's comp claims, less than 1% of the people who get injured and are making these claims with their company, less than 1%. Like, I think he literally said it's 0.7% actually try to switch to a different doctor in the case of an injury. So he said nobody asked for this, nobody wanted this, and he is not sure how it got passed, So it is just a very, very interesting rule. And, I mean, he explained it so much, and I don't really know a whole lot about the workman's comp, so I don't really feel confident in talking about all this, but it sounds like it's going to be chaos. I mean, until we get this figured out, it sounds like it's going to be absolutely chaos.
Okay. But where I'm getting at is when they released this, like when this was voted on to bring this in, this wasn't just, was this voted on in, and this maybe we need to find out before we say for sure, but as you were explaining it to me, this is what I heard you say, that it was put out and less per 10% actually voted for this. So this didn't go out by public ballot. This was either voted on at the Capitol or this was voted on by the public.
Yeah,
in a special election.
I couldn't tell you on that.
Okay. Well, don't quote me on that, but it sounds like it was, however it was passed, it was by a super thin majority, and the majority of people didn't vote on it, is the way you were kind of explaining that. So this thing is going to be going live. It's on the books now, and there is some context. I would definitely say do your research. Obviously, we need to do more research. Yes. We're very green to this new topic, but we're going to be getting the details on it and make sure we're bringing it to you. But Luke, can you go ahead and give them who they need to be reaching out to express their concerns and ask for them to please, pull their heads out of their rears?
Yeah. So this is Jenny Wilford with the House of Representatives and Kathy Kipp on the Senate.
Okay.
So these are the two people that we need to reach out to and just let them know our thoughts and ask them why in the heck they did this. But so it's Jenny Wilford at .house@colg.gov is the first email, and then Kathy.Kipp.Senate@colg.gov are the two emails.
Can you include their links? Do you have phone numbers there for them too? No phone numbers.
Nope,
emails can
emails.
be good. Put together a thoughtful email. Don't just tell them they're idiots and things like that. I'm sure they get plenty of those and they probably ignore them. Put a little thought into it and say, hey, look, this is why, this is not right. This is what's going to happen. And let your voice be heard or make your voice be heard. So reach out and see what you can do. So perfect, Luke. Let's get some more information on that and get some good details so we're not just on a topic rambling. Perfect. So with this, we have a big situation. This is going to be my truck around and find out, because that's exactly what happened. Last week, state of Wyoming had a major snafu, major hiccup, a major data something or other. Nobody is saying anything. We don't really know what happened, but the Wyoming DMV did something, flipped the wrong switch, had a data breach. I honestly don't know. Like I said, nobody's saying, but thousands of CDL holders in the state of Wyoming, all of a sudden, their current licenses have vanished off of their record.
Yep.
Okay, now this is a big deal because when you run the MVR, any of these actual CDL holders, their MVR now shows that their license has been expired and that they are eligible. They're eligible to apply for a CDL. So everything is gone. They don't know how many this happened to. And the scariest fact is they have absolutely no idea who this affected. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of saying, well, it's not that bad. It might be only 1,000, but it started off that it was thousands. The truth of the matter is they don't know. And we only know what we know because we've already had to contact them. Dude, we have dealt already with 17 of these drivers. We know another company here in Colorado that we work with who reached out to us desperately for help. They had 10 that popped up in theirs. It's not good. It's absolutely terrible. But within 2 days, we dealt with 17, and that's just with our network. Not all, obviously, not all the Wyoming CDL holders. But again, this is limited to if you have employees that are CDL licensed out of the state of Wyoming. The first step you need to do is run an MVR immediately.
Yep.
Okay, because that's the only way you're going to find out if they've been affected by this data, whatever it is. Okay. Now, the Wyoming they have no way of knowing. So if you find that your license, your driver's license is showing that you're eligible, you're going to have to contact that driver is going to have to contact Wyoming and let them know. They will then input their information manually back into the system to show that they have a license.
Yep.
Okay. And they can get that license back in there that way because right now they've got no idea. Now I wish that was it, but that's not all. They lost everything. So that means if that driver had endorsements and they had restrictions, that's gone. They have no idea. And they will not. When you make that phone call, they're not putting your endorsements and restrictions back on the license. They are now, as of right now, or what we had yesterday, which was, what is today? Friday, which was Thursday. What is today? I don't have my phone here. Yesterday is the 8th. So we're doing this recording. This is going to be released on Tuesday. Okay. So as of the 7th, okay, what they were doing was they were requiring these drivers to bring their physical copy of their license in so they can look at the front and back. It sounds to me like they will not accept them just to be sent in. I'm sure as this grows, they might have a change of heart. But as of right now, you have to take your physical license in there so they can actually see what endorsements you truly have, and then they'll be willing to put them back on there. But they're not putting the endorsements and stuff back on there until they can actually prove and see it on a license. So this is a major deal. Can you imagine the time, the money, and the cost that companies for thousands of drivers are going to now have to do to take down and take that driver out of service, go to the DMV, wait in line, and get this fixed? That's a big deal. That's a lot of money. And to find out or to see as of this date when we're recording this, it's radio silence in Wyoming. Like there are no press releases, no, hey guys, we're sorry this happened. This is what's going on. They're just dealing with it, but not telling anybody.
Trying to sweep it under the rug. Yeah. I tried to do some research on it yesterday before the CMCA meeting got started and, just typed into Google Wyoming CDL, no record of CDL, and there's nothing. You can't find an article, nothing.
Yeah, I did too. And you're finding articles like, if your license gets suspended, this is what you need to do in Wyoming. There's lots of that out there, but there's nothing on this point, which I find it kind of disturbing. Like, I get it. They probably don't want it to go out and they probably, to get egg on their face, that kind of thing. But this is a major issue and it affects safety and it's going to affect potentially thousands of motor carriers and thousands of drivers. This is something that they need to do a press release and say, this is the steps. This is what you need to do. Make it official. Right now, the process is you run an MVR, You call them to get the license back on the record. And then if you have endorsements or restrictions, you're going to have to schedule a time to get that driver up there. If that turns out that that driver that you got suspended is a hazmat driver, a tank endorsed driver, something like that, okay, then if the license, when you run that license, if it's not showing on the MVR, okay, that's a big problem, because they're going to get pulled over, and the enforcement division is going to believe that that person doesn't have that endorsement, or they're going to think that something is wrong with the license, and maybe the license is fictitious because it's going to show an endorsement. So yes, this is big. Want to make sure that you're on top of this so this does not affect you, jump with it and go with it, and don't dilly-dally. Run those MVRs right away if you have Wyoming CDL drivers. But other than that, if you truck around, you're definitely going to find out on that baby. So perfect. All right, y'all. Well, we really appreciate you tuning in, listening to us. I want to thank our drivers and our companies out there for the professional community that we get to work with every day. You know, if it wasn't you, we'd all be stuck somewhere. We definitely wouldn't have all these good little fun toys that we like that you bring to us. So, you know, if we bought it, you brought it. So appreciate everything you're doing to help keep America moving forward. Stay safe out there. Keep our shiny side up. And hey, we'll catch you on the next podcast.